Hello and welcome to Lisa's Stamp Studio. My name is Lisa Curcio. Today is Wednesday, October 15th, and the year is 2020, and this is a YouTube live event. Whether you are here watching the replay or you have joined me live, I am so glad that you're here. Thank you for joining me. I have been so excited about tonight's project because it's what I'm calling a happy accident. Maybe if you've paper crafted for any time, that's happened to you as well. I was actually designing a fun fold card and it didn't come out the way I wanted it. And I threw the paper aside. And when I glanced down over at what I've thrown away, I realized I came up with a brand new idea. Tonight's fold, I'm checking the name because I want to make sure I get this right. I've named it the Top Lift Fun Fold. And you might call it something different, but that's just a really easy way to remember the name of this card. And it is beautiful. The possibilities are endless on what you can do with it. In addition to what I'm going to be demonstrating for you tonight, I have 6 other cards to share with you using the exact same bundle of products, which is the stamps and the dies, that are also part of this month's card making class. Those details I'll share with you at the end. Please know that I've got a ton of tips for you. Tips about the stamps and the dies to make your die cutting and stamping a lot easier. Whether you have these exact same ones or not, I think you're going to find the tips really helpful. Okay, a couple things before we get started. First, down below the video title is the video description, and there you'll find a link over to my blog, which will give you all the pictures, the cutting dimensions, and the supplies for the cards I'm demonstrating tonight. In addition to that, you'll find the information there about the card making class. Second of all, if you would like to chat during tonight's live or leave a comment for the replay, you will be required by YouTube to sign into your YouTube account, which is your Gmail address. I do come back and I read every single comment, so I would love to hear from you. And then finally, I want to introduce you to my assistant, Megan. Megan's name is here in blue. You'll see a little wrench next to her name. Megan is here to answer your questions and to help communicate with you because, quite frankly, I'm here to stamp and it's impossible to stamp and try to talk with you at the exact same time. So Megan does a really great job of that. Please be cognizant that there's one of you and hundreds of her, but I think you'll find her really pleasant and helpful. I think we're ready. Are you guys ready for this brand new top of lift of fun fold card? Let's turn the camera down. I'm going to get you all zoomed in. So just give me a second. Here we go. All right, we're on our way down. That's never a fun transition because I always worry you're going to get dizzy. And let's zoom you in. Okay, I think we're good. The very first thing we're going to do is do the cutting and the scoring. And I have to tell you, this is so simple. You are going to be thrilled. But the overall impression when it's finished is amazing. Now, keep in mind, I am going to be using vellum tonight, but this works perfectly with cardstock. So feel free to interchange the pieces that I'm using on this original design. Remember, it's never wrong if it's yours. So tweak it so it's the way you want it. I actually have my piece already scored. And the reason I did that is because I wanted to share some tips with you. I am using this gorgeous, this is plush vellum. This is part of the Poinsettia suite that's in the mini catalog. I'm telling you, this paper is absolutely gorgeous. You are going to need to cut a piece that's 3.5 by 8.5 inches long, and you are going to score it at 5 1/8 of an inch. I did use my Stampin' Trimmer, and I want to talk to you about this, especially with vellum. This is something I get a lot of comments and questions and emails about, that when you score your vellum paper or your vellum cardstock, you score too hard and it cracks or rips. So I want to give you that first tip. I love my trimmer because it has both a scoring blade, which is the light one, and a cutting blade. And they navigate up and down out of the way so you can keep them both on the track at the same time. Keep in mind that all your cutting is going to be right down here in this black area here. So that makes alignment through this clear guide super easy. The arm on this trimmer opens all the way up past 17 inches. So if you are a scrapbooker or you like to do 3D projects, we've got you covered. So all I did was I lined up my vellum inside my track at the 5 1/8 inch mark. I think I did it this way. Let me turn it around. It doesn't matter which end. Mine is already scored. The scoring blade on here works famously. You just go back and forth. This is vellum cardstock, so it's thicker than vellum paper. But if you have a trimmer that does not have a scoring blade on it, I want to give you a great tip. Take your bone folder and you're going to run it right down the inside of that track, nice and slow, to get your score line. If you are working with thick vellum cardstock like this one, you're going to have to use your scoring blade just a couple times gently back and forth to get a really good indication here. And because this is vellum, I wanted to make sure that I could see it really, really well in order to make this fun fold. All right, so that's the first piece that we're going to need. This piece obviously then is going to come down on that score line. So let's go ahead and do that. Even though you have it scored, if you're anything like me, sometimes we're a little crooked. So what I like to do is just eye that score line, which I have here. I'm going to bend it backwards first because it's easier to see, and then forwards. And I like to look at the edges on both sides to make sure it's straight. Then once it's straight, I'm very carefully going to press my bone folder. Now, normally I would drag my bone folder, but we don't want to do that with this plush paper because we don't want to damage it. It's really, really pretty. So I'm very lightly going over it. All right, that's going to give us a really nice score line. This piece of paper is the whole secret to this fun fold. And like I said, this was a happy accident. The next thing I decided to do was cut the card base. And this is basic, something you already know how to do. 5.5 by 8.5, scored in half at 4.25. I'm going to go ahead and just fold that up. And I'm going to use my bone folder to create those nice crisp edges on this card. I always like to do that, especially with my fun folds. Basic card. That piece is going to intersect with this piece in just a moment. I decided that I wanted to play up the front of this card, and that's when I brought in this brand new, beautiful red velvet paper. Let me grab it here. Look at this. Oh, I wish you were here with me so you could feel it. It is so soft, and it is beautiful. And guess what else you can do with it besides die cut it? You can emboss it. This is the Dating Diamonds embossing folder. It is a 3D folder, so it's a little bit thicker, which means it's going to leave a very deep and beautiful impression. Now, just because of space, I didn't bring the die cutting and embossing machine in, but it's amazing. I have one already done for you, but I want to show you this. A look at this. I'm hoping that you can see the details in this. The great thing I loved about this deep embossing folder, I hope you can see this. There's little areas of the white peeking through because of the deep impression, which is going to work famously on this project. But the impression here is just beautiful. So you can obviously die cut on this as well as emboss. So that's our first piece. I am going to adhere this to the front of the card. And one of my very favorite accessories here in the studio is my silicone craft sheet. Liquid glue, hot glue, and adhesive will not stick to it because of the silicone surface, which means if I get a little excited and I go off the edge, it's not going to make my work surface all sticky. So I'm going to add adhesive all the way around my little layer here of my velvet paper. This is the Stampin' Seal Plus, and it is super duper strong. So you can use it sparingly. You don't have to worry about your cards coming apart. And I'm going to go ahead and center that right here on the front of my card base. Let's go ahead and let's tack that in place. And because I don't want to deboss that, which means push it too hard, let's go ahead and just secure that adhesive from the back. Okay, so we've got our card. So far, so good, right? All right, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to work on the insert to this card so we can add the fun fold or the top lift. And I have a piece of real red cardstock here. We are not doing anything fancy to this. All we're going to do is we are going to adhere this to the inside of the card. So I'm going to go ahead and just add my adhesive here to my corners, and this is going to go to the inside. Believe it or not, we are going to build the fun fold from here. It's kind of different, isn't it? Where we usually build the fold first, and then we decorate. All right, so what we're going to do next is we're going to work on the pieces that are going to go on the fun fold, and I'm going to show you how the top flip works. So let me set that off to the side for just a moment, and then I'm going to bring in a scrap piece of Whisper White cardstock. Now, this is where I'm going to do some die cutting, and I want to talk to you about this amazing bundle of products. Now, you can buy them separately, or you can buy them as a bundle. And if you buy them as a bundle, you're going to save 10% on the purchase, which gives you both. It's called Poinsettia Petals. And I'll be honest with you, when I saw it in the mini catalog, this is the brand new mini catalog, I was like, yeah, I've got poinsettias. Well, I bought them anyways because I was really enthralled with them. And I have to tell you, I am blown away. So much that I got rid of the old poinsettias and I am using these exclusively because wait until you see the cards that I've made with this. Remember, I'm going to demonstrate this fun fold and I've got 6 more to share with you. Now, the stamps and the dies obviously work together. The other thing about this die is it's going to die cut some of the patterns on the designer series paper. So this has got lots of uses. One of the tips I want to share with you about this die set is this. Now, when you purchase them from Stampin' Up, they come in the clear envelope, which I love. You'll be able to find all the products in my online store. And they come on this piece of cardboard with double-sided tape to hold the dies in place. You're going to notice that I added a piece of magnet sheet to the top of that cardboard because there's so many pieces here. I was having trouble getting them to stick and unstick from that cardboard. And I used these magnetic vent covers. I know you're probably laughing at me, but they're really inexpensive. You get several in a package. You can find these at any big box store, even at home improvement stores and online with Amazon. And then all I did was I simply traced this on top of the cardboard and I cut it out. But what it's allowed me to do is to make sure these magnetically stick on here. Okay, so that's tip number one. Tip number two is if you have a die package like this and it's really, really full, which means you have a lot of pieces and you've ever found it cumbersome to get them all to fit, do what I did. Before I went any further, I took a silver or even a gold Sharpie metallic marker and I traced the outside of each of the dies so that I knew where everything would fit so I can get it back in the envelope. So nice and easy. Here's the other thing. If I'm stamping with friends, and I go to put this away and I've got an empty spot, I know I've got a die missing. So this is another wonderful tip for you. But let's go further. You're going to see here that there's 1, 2, 3 sizes of the poinsettia petals. Now, of course, you can use these individually with the stamps, or you can build a full bloom, which is what I'm going to do tonight. Let me take off these 2 pieces here. And I'm going to set those dies off to the side for just a minute. Let me move that. And we're going to come back here to the cardstock. I decided that I was going to die cut my flower. This piece that goes on the inside does the embossing for the flower. So this cuts the shape and this embosses the detail. I had one heck of a time lining this thing up because it's not symmetrical. So let me show you what I did. I took a little dab of nail polish. Now I know this probably sounds crazy, but this works like a champ. I put a little dab of nail polish on one of the tips. And then once I figured out which way this went by fitting it inside, I took another dab and I made it on the coordinating tip. So now every time I'm going to die cut this, I know exactly which petal goes where. So there you go. We got it all lined up and I cranked it through my die cutting machine. Now I did this for all of those 3 sizes that I shared with you, which left me these. Now, the detail in this is absolutely beautiful. Can you see the embossed veins on here? So, so pretty. I will tell you that in years past, I used a Sharpie marker, which does work, but I found with the compressions through my die cutting machine that tend to wear off a lot faster than this did. And I have used this thousands of times. I'm not kidding. And I have not had that problem with the nail polish. So that's a great tip for you. I wanted to make sure that I shared that. Let me set those off to the side for just a second. And we've got our flower. Now, let's go ahead and put the flower together, and then we're going to work on some leaves. And I've got some great tips for you there as well. Now, you can build your flower using dimensionals, which is a small piece of foam tape, which is going to give you a lot of density here, or you can use glue dots. There's no right or wrong way. Tonight, I'm going to use dimensionals. So I'm going to take the medium size and I'm going to add that here to the back side. I want to be careful that that dimensional does not show through the front. The secret to assembling the flower is to offset the petals. That's going to give you a much fuller bloom. Now I've got another one here and I want to show you. I think this one might be too big. Oh no, it might fit. But don't worry. If it is, we've got mini dimensionals to work with. And again, I'm going to offset this layer with this layer. So I'm going to turn this one more time and I'm going to add that flower here. Isn't this gorgeous? Okay, let's talk about some leaves. Now, obviously the stamp set has leaves and there's coordinating dies, which you can die cut very much like this that has the details. But guess what? I decided to use that beautiful plush vellum. This is the vellum that I created to do that fun flap with. But look at this. Boy, do I have a tip for you. Let me grab some scratch paper here to protect my work surface. I don't want my leaves white. I want them green. So I'm going to color them. I'm going to use the garden green ink pad, and I am going to use a sponge dauber. Now, I label mine because I keep one of every color because I'm an avid paper crafter. If you are not, I didn't know if you know this or not, but you can rinse these out with warm dish soap and water and let them air dry. They will become pigmented because of the color. But as long as they rub off clear, you can use them in other colors. So that doesn't mean you have to buy all of them. You can just buy a few and they come in a package with multiples. All right, I know this is going to be difficult to see, so let's go ahead and do this. And I've got a little area here that I can do my stamping off. I think you can see that better now. I am going to add a little ink to the dauber. I am going to tap off some of that ink here. I don't want it too strong. I want to be able to control that coverage. And very carefully, we are going to go over that plush or velvet feeling little leaf to give it a little color. Isn't this pretty? And it's really subtle, so it's not going to take away from our velvet layer or from that gorgeous flower. And of course, if you want it darker, add more color. It's never wrong if it's yours. Now, here is the absolute best part about this. That outline die fits this designer series paper, and you can die cut your petals. Check this out. This is just a piece because I know this is not going to show. So I just used scraps of what was left over. Isn't this fantastic? I'll tell you what, there was a lot of really great thought put into this stamp and die set, and I think you're really, really going to enjoy it. Now, let's take this one more step further, because I know if you're like me, when you go to stamp, you're going to have the same problem. So let me show you here. I've got the stamp that fits this die. I'm actually going to stamp the image, let's say, and you would be doing the same thing. You'd be turning and turning to try to figure out how it lines up. So the very first time you use the stamps, I want you to identify where it's going to fit, where you've marked the die, and then watch what I did. I very carefully peeled up the stamp. This is photopolymer, so it's clear. And I put a dot with a blunt tip Sharpie marker. You know, you don't want to stab it. You just want to put a little dot right there at the top. So now when I go to use this stamp, I'm going to make sure that my dot is at the top of my paper so that when I go to die cut it, I know that this dot and this dot are going to line up perfectly. No more hassle. You'll spend an extra 5 minutes identifying the dies and the stamps. It'll make using it in the future so much easier. Just a wonderful tip for you about the stamp set that I wanted to share because I thought that was really, really important. All right, so we've already talked about the leaves, and I've got some finished ones here. And let's go ahead and let's build this flower. I like to build the flowers first before I adhere them because I think it makes it a lot easier. So for this, I'm actually going to use glue dots, or you can use liquid glue if you like. My glue dots are here between the layers of the paper, and I'm actually going to place the glue dot on the front because it's going to attach to the back of the flower. So I'm going to press and I'm going to lift. And I'm just going to kind of decide where I want these. I'm going to put one up here, and then I've got another one here. And again, you can see that I just used scraps of that beautiful paper. I wasn't even worried I didn't have a full leaf because you're not going to see the whole thing. So it's a great way to maximize what you've purchased. And then one other here. Let's take this one and let's put this one. Oh, I think maybe we'll go down here. Let's put that one there. Okay, so pretty, but it's going to get even better. Next step is the beautiful accessories called the beaded pearls. Now, I've used quite a few of these. You get a lot more than this. This is what's left. I'm going to use my take your pick tool with that putty tip to help me lift these up because I find that they're a little bit slippery. Those beads in here are absolutely gorgeous. Now, again, liquid glue if you're a fan of that. I'm a big fan of glue dots when I have a bunch of you here watching me because it doesn't have to dry. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to place this on top of one of the glue dots. And because this is sizable, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to pick this up and I'm going to add one more to the other side. So now I know it's good and anchored. We don't want to lose that. It's slippery. And then this is going to go right here. Can you stand it? Is this not absolutely gorgeous? And we're not even done yet. All right, so let's go over now and do some more stamping. This piece is going to end up going on the inside of my card. So I'm just going to stamp my greeting for this now. And I'm going to be using the Real Red ink. One of the things I absolutely love about the Stampin' Up! Products is the color coordination. You never have to worry if those reds are going to match or those blues are going to match. It all matches. So this Real Red matches that cardstock we put to the inside of the card. And this greeting came from that same stamp set. So I've inked that up and we're going to stamp that here near the top. Lots of firm, even pressure to stamp that. I've got my Stampin' Scrub just off camera, or if you use a Stampin' Chamois, that works as well, just to clean the stamps. Never put your stamps away dirty. All right, we are ready to put this fun fold together. Are you ready to see how the magic comes together? This is so easy. Let's slide those off to the side. Let's come back here to the card base. We've got the velvet front and the red inside. Do you remember this piece? All right, this piece I purposely made vellum because look, it's going to show through the inside of this card. Isn't this absolutely stunning? What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that this crease now is all the way at the top of the card. I'm going to hold this up so that you can see it because that is where the card is going to fold and this piece is going to do the top lift. So let's go ahead and let's use that silicone craft sheet one more time. I'm going to flip this over and I'm going to use the Stampin' Seal Plus. And I know some of you are already thinking to yourself, there is no way that is going to show. Wow, I don't know how this is, but it doesn't show. I don't know if it's because of the velvet plush on the other side or what, but I have had just huge success with this. So I'm working in small areas versus a strip because I don't want the paper to curl. And then I'm going to take this now at the crease and I'm lining it up, centering it the best that I can, trying not to get my head in your camera view, and putting this at the very tippy top of the card, right up here. And then once I'm happy with that placement, we're going to go ahead and attach that and we are going to press that in place. I loved this because that dark cardstock just makes this vellum layer predominant. So not only pretty on the outside, but it's going to be pretty on the inside. This layer is for your greeting and for you to sign. So we're going to flip this over and we're going to add some adhesive now to the back side of this as well. This now is going to go here. But I cut it small enough so that you're going to be able to see the little vellum layer and the continuity that we're going to have from the front of the card. All right, then we'll press that in place. Okay, you ready? You're going to close it. The top lift comes down. Oh, we're not done yet. Wait. And now we are going to add our flower. Let's go ahead and flip this over and let's add some dimensionals here. I always like to add them where I've placed my glue dots just for mailing purposes because I know I'm going to mail this card. And then you're going to want to secure some of those petals in place. You know, the post office does a real number on our cards. So I'm always cognizant about making sure that this is secure. There's nothing worse than making a beautiful card and then it falls apart by the time it gets there. Remember that same tool I used with the putty tip? Well, guess what? There are interchangeable tips here, and I use this take your pick tool with this paper piercing tool attachment all the time to help me take off these paper backings to these dimensionals. These are pre-cut pieces of foam tape. They're going to create the most beautiful evolution to your project. I mean, it's just going to be absolutely gorgeous. All right, so let's see. How do we want this? I'm thinking it needs to go here. You want to make sure everything stays within the perimeter of the card so it fits in the envelope. And then before you joined me, look what I did. I stamped a greeting on a small strip of white cardstock. I used another piece of that beautiful vellum just to border it. Again, continuity. Let's add some dimensionals here. And let me show you where we're going to put this. And again, we'll put those right on the back. I'll use my tool to take off that paper backing. I know I've shared this with you before if you've watched my channel. I do have osteoarthritis in my basal joints. So picking off those paper backings are really difficult. So that tool has been a lifesaver. And I'm going to place this right down here near the bottom. Oh my gosh, is this not absolutely stunning? So to open the card, the flap comes up, there's your top lift, and then here's the inside of your card. So this whole one piece creates the fun fold. Now, as beautiful as this is, I know you're going to come up with a whole bunch of ideas for this card that I haven't even created yet. Just think of all the different things you can use here. Designer series paper, embossed cardstock. This could hold a big greeting. It could hold a single image, a birthday cake, lots and lots of fun things. I packed this as a big wow because I want to teach you lots of different things that you can do with the products. Remember, these products are all available in my online store. Now, I'm super excited to share 6 more cards with you using this exact same stamp set and the dies. Let's go ahead and push this one off to the side for right now, and let me grab these. These 6 cards I'm going to show you next are all part of this month's online monthly card making class. So you will get a PDF tutorial and a video so that you can make every single one of these cards right along with me from home. All you have to do is place a $50 product order using my exclusive card making class host code in my online store. When you use that host code, I know that you are entitled to the free PDF tutorial and the video. And the video, by the way, is step by step. I make every card with you, all six of these. So we have one, two, and three. Really, really pretty. All the designs are original to Lisa's Stamp Studio, so you won't find these anywhere else. Look it. I'm going to give you so many tips in the video, just like we've done here tonight. You're going to have so much experience with the dies and the stamps and just stamping in general that's going to make your paper crafting a lot easier. So that's four. And then this is five. This is actually from the designer series paper. And I give you tips in the video on how to identify which flower it is because not all of them die cut. All right, so that's five. And then here is the sixth one. Now, my card making class is only available for 4 days. Let me turn the camera around and give you those details if you're interested. Hold on 1 minute. Let me turn you. Okay, that card making class is only available from today, which is October 14th, through Saturday, October 17th, 2020. So if you're here watching the replay and those dates are passed, I'm sorry. It's available in exchange for a $50 order. So if you place a $50 order using that special host code for my card making online class, I'm going to immediately send you the tutorial and the video to make these cards at home at your own pace. So you can stop and start as often as you'd like. Now, there's only one exception to the host code, and I want to make sure I bring that up. Let's say you've got a big order. It's $150 in product before shipping and tax. Do not use the host code because believe it or not, you're going to earn rewards for an order of that size. But it is imperative that you email me or contact me immediately to let me know that that order was intended for this card making class. Otherwise, I have no way of knowing because you can't use the host code. So that's really, really important. Again, 4-day ordering period only. Now, for those of you that perhaps are Stampin' Up! Demonstrators or you're not interested in placing an order, I do have just the PDF tutorial available. This does not include the video, nor does it include my other bonus to all my card making class customers, which is a private invitation to an event called Live with Lisa. It is held privately right here on YouTube, where I do multiple demonstrations with them. I give away product prizes and we have lots of fun. But guess what? They get 8 additional tutorials for projects that I have designed that have not been seen anywhere else. They then become available for sale, but they get them for free. So I would love to have you join us this month for the poinsettia. I'm looking for it, the poinsettia petals stamp set, and of course the coordinating dies for this month's class. My class changes every single month, and it's typically the second Wednesday through Saturday of the month. I would love to have you join us. Now, before you go, I would love to encourage you to subscribe to my channel because I'm going to be coming back live with you, and it's going to be, looking at my calendar, Monday, October 26th at 8 p.m. That's Eastern time, so you can convert that to your time zone. I've got another fun fold for you coming up on that day that I know you are going to flip over. I hope that you have enjoyed today's Top Flip Fun Fold. I mean, isn't this just absolutely gorgeous? Oh, I don't even know who I'm going to send it to. Maybe my mom, maybe my family members. I don't know. We're going to have to see. But I will tell you too, all my customers receive a handmade thank you card from me that they can actually reuse. I do not write in it. It's just my way of saying thank you for my order. And I also offer generous ordering rewards to those customers that are ordering outside of the card making class. You can find all the details at lisastampstudio.com under the rewards tab. If you're looking for the PDF tutorials, you'll find them under the classes tab. Megan, thank you so much for all your hard work tonight. I am so glad that you were all here with me, and I look forward to being back with you with more videos and, of course, live on October 26th. You all have a wonderful evening and stay well.